that's the kid that was rapping at my brother's school. It was Tupac. This is one of the really earliest tapes with Tupac being recorded. I think at this time he may have been 15, 16. Hi, I'm Geology, and this is my Wax Poetics collection. I mean, really from the start of my life, art has always been a part of who I am. Before, it's kind of like very natural. Like I was doing it before I was even could recognize what I was actually doing. My mom and my dad, they recognized my talent quite early because I would draw things with a lot of details. But also music was a big part of my story as well, because I grew up in a music household, and you got to think this is like the start of the 70s, so everybody had records. You go to anyone's house, they always had like a bunch of 45s, stuff like that. Some of them scratched up, some of them well taken care of, it depends. But my dad, thankfully, was someone who collected music, but he had not just records, he also had 8-track tapes. He had cassette tapes, he had, vinyl. So he had all these different types of media that was just a part of my environment. And I was also always fascinated by the music, of course, but a lot of love and thought was put into the packaging of those records. You saw a great record in the album cover, often the music reflected what that was. They matched, they told the story together. I was really fascinated by the Earth, Wind & Fire covers and stuff like that, and Bitches Brew, Miles Davis, and if you have like Herbie Hancock cover with him surrounded by all these synthesizers and keyboards around him, like that opened up my imagination. Even before I could fully comprehend the depth of all of that, it caught my attention as a young kid. I was fascinated by looking at these records. And that art style ended up being a huge influence to my art style that developed later, When I moved to New York, I went to the School of Visual Arts, SVA. My first year there, I did a lot of different things. But at the start of my second year there, I met a new student named Matthew Reed, AKA Matt Do, and we clicked. We had the love of hip hop. We shared a lot of the same love of, music and art and all these different things. So we really connected. But his influence was different from mine. His influence comes from comic book direction. And I saw the connection to like what I grew up on, looking at album covers and, Clairemont's work. So Matt bringing his style and me bringing my style and combining it created what Doable Arts became. And that was a very special, strong period of my history. I started collecting records at 5 years old, but not knowing like this was gonna become like a lifelong thing, It was just because everybody in the family had records. My aunt had records, my grandmother had records, my dad had his collection of records. We all just had records. It was just records around us. So they started buying me records when I was 5, and because I liked certain music, and every week me and my grandmother went to the record store pretty much after school at some point. That became a thing that me and my grandmother did a lot because she loves music as well. I started to play instruments. I was 9 years old. So I played the cornet at first, and then cornet led to the trumpet. Trumpet became my main instrument, and I played the trumpet for many years, except because the school I went to was like East Side Baltimore. It's in the hood, So I came to school to go to my music class, and my music teacher is like, you don't have a trumpet anymore. The school, like someone broke in the school and stole instruments the night before. So he said, so you're gonna play the trombone. So I had to learn the trombone because someone stole my trumpet. When I first started to DJ, I was 11, but I had disco records. I had, different kind of live instrumentation on the record. So the tempos are constantly switching and changing. If you're playing like disco records and you're playing live instrumentation records, like you gotta ride the pitch. Like it's just part of the way to keep things smooth when you're blending them. And at some point I got good at doing that. What I didn't really think about was like the way that became so smooth for me, like moving the pitch control up and down, and it correlated with the way when I played the trombone, how it moved the slide, to play the notes. So like to me, I feel like everything that I've done in my journey has connected to something else. It's taught me something else. Collecting records from 5, playing instruments from 9, DJing from 11, and then probably by, I think like 14, I started to produce. I went to the Baltimore School for the Arts, and people know that Tupac went to that school, Jada Pinkett, she went to the school, we all went to the school together. I was there before them, just a little older than them. People know that connection from the school, but my Tupac story starts before he actually came to our school. Me and my brother are very close. I really protected him, took care of him growing up. But eventually he ended up going to a school called Roland Park. So my brother had invited me to come to the school, like some type of May Festival. It was like near Mother's Day, I remember. I don't want to disappoint my little brother, so I want to be there. He was really proud to have me come. But at some point, after being there for quite a while, it was time for me to get ready to leave. And I remember before I'm about to leave, I remember seeing a cipher of kids rapping. It was a bunch of kids rapping in a circle, and they laughing and joking. And this one kid, I don't know who he is or who they are. It caught my attention at the time. But then after that, I left and I didn't think about it anymore until one day I got on the number 8 bus. I remember to see the guy, I seen his face, I'm like, that's the kid that was rapping at my brother's school. It was Tupac. At some point, we started a new school year. I went to the Baltimore School for the Arts. Some girls at the school, it was like, there's this guy from New York that raps too that's here, So we was like, who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? We was like, I see who the guy is. I'm like, that's the guy I've been seeing all these different times. I'm like, wow, he's in my school now. It's crazy. So we used to have this thing called the Beaux-Arts Ball, which was like kind of like a talent show, but people would dress up also in costume and stuff like that. And at the time, me and Darren, we decided we're gonna do Run DMC. So we dress up like Run DMC. We have our friend John Tamakis play drums, and we perform in front of the school and everything. And we doing like Run DMC songs and stuff. After we finished performing, they was like, yo, there's gonna be a battle downstairs. So anyway, we all go to this battle downstairs, and Tupac and Dana just murdered everybody. So this whole battle thing started off kind of like how I really got introduced to Tupac. One day after school, I invited Pac and Darren to come to my house. Basically, once I played the beat, Pac just started like spitting rhymes for like 15 minutes. He was just rapping on and on and on and on. So I was like, oh shit, like I wasn't even recording it at first. So I went and tried to record it, and and he's just rapping and just freestyling. And it was crazy, it was dope. So we would do these kind of sessions at the house where they would spit rhymes and a cappella, but I would learn the songs by them recording it, because then I now know how to formulate the beat to fit the timing of what they're saying and what's happening. That's kind of like how it all started. The earliest tape of those a cappella rhymes is one of the things that I brought today. This is one of the really earliest tapes with Tupac being recorded. I think at this time he may have been 15, 16.